Hi, guys. Welcome to the very first episode of our Work Friends show. I'm your host, Shaz. I'm here with my very good friend, Chris, and we're going to review the movie Soul from Pixar. So let's get right into this review. All right. So, what were your overall thoughts about the movie?
I just lately, I don't know. I ain't been into kid stuff. I guess I don't know. It's like lately I just become. I ain't really trying to watch nothing about or I don't know anything for kid related. I guess and since Pixar reminds me of kid movies, I don't know. I
I
don't know.
feel
But
you. I
anyway,
have a I have a kid, so I was watching it thinking it was a kid movie.
hmm
And she was out of there in like 15 minutes. She was ghost, and I kept watching it. I was like, okay, this is getting real. Um, let me see what this is about. Like, I feel like it would be so like me to have the best day of my life or have something that I always wanted and then die.
Yeah, that was like I ain't gonna lie, it was a good movie. Like I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, normally I don't really tend to watch these type of movies just because I'm like I said, it's just like I just automatically assume kid when I try not to watch like commercials also because I feel like they sometimes will spoil the movie for you. And so that's why I just try not to avoid watching that kind of stuff. But it did it did look good. And when I watched it, I ain't surprised because Pixar be having some moments or whatever be trying to make you cry because I almost teared up because I was like, damn, just a little purpose and you can be you get a little life in you get some life. I don't know. It was just like
Yeah, I definitely teared up on several parts. Like her not having a spark
mm-hmm.
really took a lot out of me.
Yeah, that's what I
Is
meant the spark.
I don't know if it's because I feel like I don't have a spark or just, you know, not knowing what that spark is. It just really like that part where she was like, "No, don't have a spark."
For real. Like that's I say that's the part that I was actually gonna say made me tear because I'm like, damn, I'm like I'm about to be 32 and I'm still just like, dang, I don't feel like I got a spark either. Like, what am I trying to do? And it's just like I don't know. Sometimes it's just with this anxiety and depression, sometimes it just feels suffocating. I ain't gonna lie, and I'm an overthinker too, so it's just like man, so made me think. So made me want to figure out where I'm going. What am I trying to do before I fall in the manhole and that's it for me, okay? so so
I
I
feel
really
you. The movie starts out, the main character Joe is a substitute teaching, and the kids are not into it. He's trying to have this almost fake enthusiasm, just trying to get them any type of interested. And you can kind of tell that this isn't really his passion. And then the principal comes in and offers him a full time position.
Mhm.
And I definitely know what that feels like because while I cannot stand my job, I still get promotions and still get promotions and tend to excel with and have this fake enthusiasm, even though I'd rather be anywhere else.
I feel
But
you.
you need the paycheck. So you're just like,
Mhm.
let me go. let me
That's
let
how
me put
I
this smile
feel.
on my face
Mm.
and push through. And I have been very successful, but not happy because it's not my passion.
I feel you. I I agree because it's just like because I feel like well for me personally I feel like the work I do it's not hard so it's just like I don't know I don't feel like I'm actually really using any of my skills or I'm not being utilized properly in my opinion so even though like I get promoted also or whatever and it's just like I'm successful and I can fake it till I make it, but it's just like I ain't trying to make it at what I'm doing now. And so I don't know. I can understand you about it's just, you know, well, you know how it was in Lost Smith. You kind of just you die a little bit inside. And so that's kind of how it is. It's just like you feel like
You're
you can
surviving because the money
yeah.
is good, but this is not what you went to school for. This is not what your
Mhm.
degree is in. This is not even close to being your passion.
Mhm.
It's simply
You could pretty much care
survival.
less. Yeah. Yeah, just as long as the check is on time and you get these benefits,
And it's
especially
a
now.
blessing that you can be promoted in something that you hate.
You're right
It
about
really is.
that.
It can be a blessing that you get promoted in something that you hate, but it doesn't change the facts that some of those days it can be painful to put on that fake smile and act like you really care about a job that you don't.
I will say though, working from home makes it easier for me. It makes it easier as far as I say my mental health, definitely. And so I'm not as far as stressed about, having to get up extra early, fight traffic, sit in a job or sit at a desk next to somebody I don't like for 8 hours or whatever, just waiting to go home to get out of that building. And it's not just that, it's just, when you're dealing with like anxiety or anything, it's just, sometimes it's just suffocating or whatever and that's kind of how you feel when you work in. Like some days it doesn't feel like that, some days it does. But it's just like, working from home, it makes it easier for me to just feel more relaxed and comfortable. And I can do the work or whatever. And, with me, I kind of have a love hate kind of thing as far as like, I guess kind of with like Joe, it's like some days I like what I do is because I can work from home, but other days it's just like it's not what I want to do. I don't want to retire doing this. And
Yeah, you
so,
can definitely tell in the movie that he loved kids. You saw that,
yeah.
at one point in the movie after he was in the cat's body,
Mhm.
and 22 was in his body. The one of the kids even came to the door saying, "I'm about to quit music," and you can
Yeah.
tell like how much that hurt him, and
Mhm.
that
I like that
so
part
he
too.
does have a love for children, but this just wasn't what he wanted to do with his life, and I
Mhm.
completely understand that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
But
so in the next part, you are kind of introduced to his mother,
mhm.
who I loved. And she reminded me of so many black mothers, right? Because
All
at
black people kind of grew up the same way.
oh yes, girl. Um she definitely reminded me of a lot of mothers where I think the difference between our generation, we're both millennials, and my parents' generation is they didn't see a problem with going to jobs every day that they hated.
I agree because if one thing my mama told me was do not quit a job before you get another one and or yeah, pretty much that. And so it's just like, you look for another job, but what's the point of looking for another job if it's the same thing that you already hate? So it's just like, okay, I'm gonna stay at a job I hate to move to another job that I hate. And so it's just like they don't want you to quit. Like, I don't know. I feel like it kind of traps you into not, being okay, to take the plunge and just be like, you know what, I don't need this. I quit. Like, I don't know. I guess it kind of scares you in that, they always want you to, they tell you to put your 2 weeks notice in for
Hmm.
every job. And it's just like, man, sometimes companies don't deserve that because we don't get that. We
Yeah,
don't get it.
and since I was like a little girl, I watched my parents go to jobs that they were not fond of.
Yes.
And they were both extremely successful, just like we were talking about earlier, being successful at careers that you're not happy in.
Mm-hmm.
And even as a young child, I knew I didn't want to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but I could never. I remember asking my dad once, like, why do you go to a job every day you don't like? And he said, because we got to eat.
Mm.
And I do understand that sense of responsibility and doing the best you can for your family, but I personally don't want to live my life in so being in a job that I hate.
Right, slaving
And
away.
to hear his mom be like, "So you taking that full time teaching job, right? You taking that full time position? You take like she was not letting up on him. She was like, you need to let this jazz business go."
Yeah, but that's what parents do. They think they know what's best for you. And they just, trying to find you the most stability or whatever. So I get it, but some they don't always know best. They don't see the vision always, or just, they just really just looking out for you. I feel like so I understand it, but man,
So then Joe gets a phone call from who else? A former student.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like sometimes just God, the universe in general, just works like that, where he wouldn't even got this opportunity of his dreams if he hadn't have been a substitute teacher. So
Yeah.
sometimes things work together to get you where you need to be. But gets a phone call from his former student and gets an offer to audition to play piano with this um
Legend, I
famous,
guess.
yeah, I guess she was a legend. What was her name in it? I
Um,
believe it was Dorothea,
yeah, yeah.
played by Angela Bassett.
Man, you can tell Angela Bassett's voice anywhere.
Yeah. The same thing with the mom. Like, I knew that was Felicia Rashad. Like, I was like,
Yes.
I hear
I
you
love some Felicia
play
Rashad.
basketball.
Go for show. Shout out. I don't care. Okay.
So, Angela Bassett was playing the Dorothea, and so he goes and he just starts playing, and he gets into a zone. And
Mm,
I feel like you feel like that anytime you're doing something that you love, you get that high.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what he was experiencing in that moment. And they hired him. Hey, come back, come play with us tonight. He's super hype. This is
Yeah.
the thing that he's been waiting
Everything
for
I've
his
always,
whole
yeah,
life.
all I've ever wanted.
He's on that cell phone, not paying no attention, falls into a manhole, and he is now a soul. And I remember, like, I didn't see too many previews, kind of like you. It's like I don't really watch previews. I don't know how I feel about kid movies. I'm trying to watch this with my daughter. What's going on here? So I didn't really know that he was going to die. Like, so when I saw that he was like a little blob now, I was like, did he just die? He couldn't just die. Like, this is his career was finna take off. um And I feel like I would have that same reaction if that happened to me. Like, what are you talking about? You see, there's like this long line, I guess, to go into the light, go into heaven. And he is fighting it for dear life. And ends up in, I guess, I don't know, what would you want to call where he ended up? Would you call it just like a
The
holding
in
place,
between.
a in between place for new souls and recently deceased souls, because they did have mentors.
Yeah, isn't that
Um,
called the Dead Zone? No, that's a TV show. Isn't that what they called it though? Or am I
yeah,
tripping?
I think so, or something like that.
Yeah, but it's something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that in between play that Well, you hell yeah, I heard her describe what she talking about.
Definitely. And so he basically is faking it until he makes it, and he's probably
Mhm.
really good at that because that's what he does teaching.
Mhm.
And he's like, that not me. How can I get back to this earth thing? And kind of steals the identity, or they assume that he's one person, that he's this. I guess he was a psychologist or a
But
therapist or
still better.
something.
Still better security in the Capitol. Girl.
Yes, they definitely still had better security than the Capitol. And that's when we are first introduced to 22. And
Mhm.
22 is the problem. She's had some really famous mentors. She's had Mother Teresa, and what was the psychiatrist guy? Um I can't think of, I don't know why I'm drawing like a
Oh,
blank.
dang. What's
The
the name?
famous psychologist guy. I cannot think of his name at all, but she had some really heavy hitters trying to mentor her, and nobody could find what her spark was. She decided that she didn't have one, and it almost really broke your heart. I know it
Mhm.
definitely broke my heart because I was like, dang, I feel like this. But
Yeah. That's why I don't watch kid movies. They be trying to make you cry. They
they
be
be
trying to
sneaking
make
them
you
emotions in.
right, right. Somebody a parent, you gonna lose a parent. Somebody, something gonna happen. They gonna and it's gonna come out of nowhere. And then you next thing you know, you just a puddle, just a puddle.
But when she was like talking to soul version of Joe and she said, Earth is where souls go to die. I was like,
Yeah,
I feel you, 22.
I did. Honestly, I did. I was like, girl, you on to something. Especially in light of recent events, it was like, man, sometimes just
Earth
man.
is ghetto.
Yeah, so
And,
go.
and I'd rather be anywhere but there.
I'm waiting on
Um,
them aliens to come pick us up. Okay, when y'all coming back? Okay, when I
so
already saw you. Okay, I'm sorry. I
no,
get
you're
off.
fine. But so Joe is wanting to get back to Earth by any means necessary.
Mhm.
Him and 22, jump in together, and he ends up in the cat's body and 22 ends up in his body,
Yeah.
and chaos ensues.
Yeah.
And I think it was pretty funny, honestly. um I think this part was probably the most interesting for children,
Mhm.
although by that point my daughter was gone. Like she was outie.
I really
But
appreciate that they took the time to, actually do it right. Do, actually make black people look like black people. Just really pay attention to detail. But, Pixar does that. But still, it's nice when
oh,
you
it was
just,
so good this time around. Like it
yeah.
was so good when he went into so he's the cat now and 22's walking around as him. When he gave her that slice of pizza, that was everything, right?
hmm
Like, can you imagine it's like a kid like eating pizza for the first time? Like,
Man,
this is awesome. I need more of this.
awesome.
Um, then he, has the incident with his hair because he has to get to this gig, right?
hmm
This is what his purpose is. He has to get back to this show so he can play this gig. And he goes into the barbershop, and I think that's my favorite because of his hair. 20, he as a cat tried to tried to cut his own hair, tried to cut human version of his hair, and effed it up, and has to go to the barbershop. And I think this is my favorite scene, because it was so black. It was so black and it was so everything. And Darnell Rollins is so funny.
Ah, yes, he is. Oh, he's good at stand up too.
He is. He's hilarious.
Mhm.
And I think it's also just a perfect example of how you can be around somebody all the time and not know anything about them.
Mhm.
Because Joe had been coming to the same barber for years and didn't know that his purpose in life wasn't being a barber. Like being a barber isn't what he wanted to do with
But
his
it's
whole
not
life either.
surprising if you think about it. Well, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't surprising to me because I don't really talk to people like I don't know. If I go to somebody or whatever, I ain't really trying to talk to you if I don't know you. Like I ain't gonna be talking to ask you all this stuff to get to know you. I ain't one of them.
That's true, but I think maybe this is like a stereotype. But I always assume like that's all dudes do in the barbershop is talk.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I ain't never thought about
It
it.
just seems, you know, it's kind of like how women or the stereotype about women like gossiping in the beauty shop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's kind of what I thought about it. So I personally did think it was weird. Like, so you've been hanging out with your barber this whole like you've been your barber for years and you don't know nothing about about him. But that scene was just beautiful. I love the way the barber looked, and it was just so black. And I
I like the
definitely
tattoo. Like they when I tell you attention to detail, girl.
it was
Details. Oh, I love it.
everything. It
Ugh.
was everything. And so I think that oh girl, I feel like the most one of the most important parts that we are missing is the soul person. I don't want to call him a
Wind. Was
I don't
that it?
call him a bitch, but he was pretty bitch made. Like you didn't have to tell nobody that count was off. You didn't have to tell nobody that I was missing, and I really didn't appreciate it.
He just trying to do his job. Then we just he trying to come in, do his job, and
We
go home.
there's wait though, let's talk about it because there's always one person that be trying to be too good at their job and be out here doing the most. Like you can take it down about three notches. Definitely Terry. So let's not forget that part because the that's kind of important because the whole time, like Terry is on they behinds. Like Terry is like this count is off. I know it's off. I'm finna go get them from Earth. I'm not having
But
it.
you can't act like you don't know nobody at work like that.
I definitely know several people at work like that. And I try to avoid them like the other souls probably be avoiding Terry because he was doing the most.
The most. And was proud of it.
And ain't it just like a Terry to get the wrong black man at first?
Yep.
Because he sure did catch the wrong black man.
Doing the
And
most with the
so
wrong one. Loud and wrong.
loud and wrong. And then wanted a reward. Made them give him a
A
reward.
reward.
And then realizing it's the wrong wrong guy. And I like the hippie guy too. Um and cuz he's actually I don't think he was really dead, right? His name was like Moodwin
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And he wasn't actually doesn't appear that he was dead because we got to see him on Earth as well. He's
Mm-hmm.
just a vibe.
Yeah, he's one of
So
those in between people or whatever.
he
It's one of
vibrates at a
yeah.
level I'm trying to
Yes.
achieve.
You got the one you got to open your third eye for. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's the one that helps them switch places back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but right before that, I love the conversation after he split his pants. Because you know he's trying to get together. He got the hair done. He splits his pants, and he has to go to his mom, who's a seamstress, to fix his pants. And he had the conversation with his mom that I think a lot of people want to have with their parents. Just like, I'ma do me. I'm grown. I know you don't like to think I'm grown. I know I'm your baby, but I have to do what makes me happy.
Mhm.
And I've definitely had that conversation with my parents, and I know a lot of people need to have that conversation with their
Yeah.
parents. And I love the fact that they didn't make her like snap on him or go off on him. She was actually seeming to be like she was kind of proud that he stood up for herself.
Yeah.
Kind of almost like she was like, "Well, it's about time you speak up for yourself.
Mhm.
Let me help you get this new suit." But that's a very powerful conversation, and I feel like in a lot of African American households, as kids, you're taught to be seen and not heard,
Mhm. Be
and that
respectful of
be
elders.
respectful elders, and I think as a people, we have to learn that me speaking my mind doesn't automatically mean disrespect.
Yeah.
Me telling you how I feel isn't
Mhm.
automatically disrespect.
Mhm.
And I feel like if everyone could get to that place where I can tell you how I feel and you're not automatically offended, more parent-child relationships would be great.
I agree. I say definitely after, you know, kind of me and my mom just finally, after so many times where I just kind of, had to be like having a reminder that I'm an adult. Finally, you do kind of just either it's like in solo where you kind of just have to, blow up a little bit, or you just gotta put your foot down, just be like, look. Hey, I'm an adult and this is what it is or whatever. But yeah, but once it does happen, I do say that things get a lot better. And like in the movie or whatever, it really does open their eyes and they're just like, okay, I understand now.
And
My
they
baby is
love
my
you,
baby's not a
right?
baby anymore.
My baby's not
Yeah.
a baby anymore. I love you. I support you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming to your show.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know,
know what's best for you.
you know what's best for you. And so I just really loved that entire scene. And I'm glad that she did show up to support him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, black
And
folks, speak to your parents.
okay.
Open up.
And and so now you get this scene that scares me, right? You get this
Mm-hmm.
part that scares me. And that's the part that he plays his show. The thing
Mm-hmm.
he's been working for the whole movie. This is
Mm.
the highlight of his life. This is the pinnacle
Ah.
of his career. He
Mm-hmm.
hits the zone again. He is back.
Mm.
And
Disappointed.
disappointed. Disappointed.
Back and disappointed.
Back
Oh,
is disappointed. And, the only reason why he could come back to Earth is because 22
gave up her badge or whatever.
gave up her badge, gave up her spark so he
Mm-hmm.
could come back to Earth. And he does it, and he's not happy.
Mm-mm.
And he asks Dorothea, like, so what do we do now? And she's like, well, we do it again tomorrow night. And he's like, huh?
What?
Like, what?
Every night?
And the reason why I said this is the scariest part for me is because I do have so many ideas of what will make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hate to get to the point or finally get what I want and not quite be happy.
Mm-hmm. Or you built it up too much and
Build it
then
up too
yeah,
much.
and then it's a disappointment.
Like my marriage, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
um, but waited my whole life to get married, got married, and was not happy. And
Mm.
so that in particular was scary. And I have so many goals in life, and I just feel like, oh Lord, like, what if I get what I want and I'm
Mhm.
still not happy? Because I think I'm not happy going to this job every day. Can you imagine finally getting your dream job and you're not freaking happy?
Yeah, but I'll say I'm still happy. I understand. Like, oh man, that is scary though. I think that's why I feel so stuck as far as like what I will do outside of, my regular job or whatever, because it's like
Mhm.
I want to make sure it's something that, I'm really going to enjoy. Because, you start stuff and then you think you're going to enjoy it and then you get into it and then you're just like, oh, it's not what,
This
it's
is
cracked
not
up to
for
be.
me.
Exactly.
This is not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And so I
Um,
feel you on that fear, girl, because it's like you see, I'm 31. I'm still like, what is this purpose? And that's kind of what plays into it. It's just that, like, dang, what if I do this and then I just don't enjoy it, like my career now or
exactly.
whatever? Yeah.
And I think at that point, that's when he realized, because the whole movie, he thought music was his purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you see him flashing back and going over his life, and you see him with his dad, and you see him, playing instruments, and you see him going through life, going to the beach, eating pizza. You see all
Mm-hmm.
these moments, the leaf falling on his face or whatever. You see, or in his hand. You see all these moments playing back for him, and that's when you start to think like that's when I believe he started to realize like, well, the purpose in life is living.
Mm-hmm.
It's not which necessarily this big the big ideas that we have in our heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not this certain job or having this or that. The
Mm-hmm.
best part, your true purpose in life is to live it.
Yeah.
And that's when he decided he had lived his life and he went back
Mm-hmm.
to get 22 because she's a young soul and he wanted her to experience
Mm-hmm.
the life he had. He even tells her when he goes back to get her, like, hey, I lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
So while, the movie started out with him thinking that was the best day of his life, when he went back through it, when after he had the experience with playing what he thought was his dream job, he realized that wasn't the best day of his life.
Mm-hmm.
That he had had a lot of good days.
Yeah.
And it just made me all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I get it. I'm like, you can still have a good life, but I don't know. I feel like part of your purpose though, there's is more to it or whatever. You don't want to just float through. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I get it or whatever, but I'm still like, yeah, you had a good life, but hell, I'm still looking for my purpose because I don't think it's more than just having some good moments. Damn it, I want a career of something good.
Well, I think that we all have a spark.
Mhm.
And so I think that you should find your spark. And Joe had
Mhm.
already found his spark.
Mhm.
So I feel like his purpose was the experience that he had.
Yeah, but
And
I don't want
so
to realize it once I'm dead either. Having a, how he just goes back and looks like it and then realizes, like, oh, okay, yeah, that was a
it
good.
took him dying to realize what his,
Yeah. So I,
yeah.
it's a good message, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Pixar,
It's
yeah,
a good
but.
message, but
Mhm.
I feel you. It can be like, damn, I don't have like a ultimate, a ultimate purpose. I, I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to do a little bit more. I don't know, cause like you say, like I was saying earlier, how I just don't feel like I'm being utilized fully. So, and if anything, I just want to utilize myself fully, and so
Mhm.
that's why I feel like it. I don't know. That's why I guess I just think it's more like, yeah, you look back on it, but I want to have a purpose besides just I had some
I
happy
mean, his life
moments.
was cut short. There
Yeah.
could have been better memories or whatever. But the movie, I guess, had to
Yeah.
be had to have, some type of overall theme and
Mhm.
wrap up. And
Yeah.
they did let him come back to Earth, which I loved, because I was like, oh, he just gonna send 22 back, and then
Just leave her hanging.
he just gets to die. Like, oh no. But they got Terry behind together, and they literally just tricked him. And Joe got to come back. And I would be well, I don't really know if this is a movie you can do a part two of, but
Oh, they will
I
find a way. They will
yeah,
find
they
a way.
definitely find a way. I would like to see what happened to 22, but overall, I would say that I hope Joe enjoyed more of his life. Because quite frankly, I didn't know why he didn't do both in the first place. You can teach during the daytime and play in the jazz band at night.
Right.
You really didn't
But
have to pick
hold
one or
on
the
now. But
other.
but when we say it, it's easier to say it than it is to do it. Because once you get off, you be ready to sit down somewhere, take a load off, get a rest.
This shoe, but he a band teacher. Was he can't? He ain't gonna be grading no papers
Joe don't want to be
or
bothered after
nothing.
work. Okay, he tired. No,
And
but
they probably travel and stuff, and so he couldn't really
yeah.
be a permanent teacher. So I get it,
Pixar said, "Look, we didn't want to go too far deep into this backstory. All right."
but it was overall. I really enjoyed the movie. I
But
don't think it was
hold
for
on,
children.
hold on. Okay, who you think the villain is and who the actual villain is? Because lately I've been seeing a lot of that, and it's been making me reevaluate a lot of movies. So I'm gonna just say, Terry, I got your back. You was just trying to do your job, okay? Okay, Terry. So me and you are together, okay? Because I know Joe was out of order, okay? Not you, Terry.
So
Okay, don't nobody else stick up for you, Terry. I will. They didn't do you right, okay?
Terry
That's
was
how
the
they
low
always
key
do.
hero. I get it. Terry was Terry. Terry, I can go with that. I will say the exact same thing as you. I will say that Joe might be the real villain
Mhm.
and Terry was the hero because he was just trying to do his job,
Mhm.
and Joe was out here lying and sneaking back to Earth and
Right?
stuff.
Just do whatever he had to. But yeah, definitely adults can definitely check it out though. So.
Those can definitely check it out. Maybe a preteen to teenager. But as far as like my daughter's 3, I don't think a little kid
We'll appreciate the message.
will really appreciate the message. And I think Questlove did a lot of the music, I believe.
Mhm.
And there's no singing. Like usually when you have a well, it's not Disney, it's
Mhm.
Pixar.
Mhm.
But usually, with cartoons, there's like a lot of singing, there's a song, something to catch little kids'
Mhm.
attention. And you really don't have that here. And the music that you do have is jazz. And so that's not really ear catching to most kids.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I
has
just
been
as
fading and
it
fading and
came out
fading.
on Christmas Day, I think. And just for something to watch from home where everybody's at home, not in the theaters, I thought it was a good watch.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Now, will I watch it again? Eh.
um, I probably wouldn't watch it again. Although 22 was really dropping some gems. Like
Mhm.
she really was out here. She was really out
22
here.
is a lot of us.
22 is definitely a lot of us, and she was dropping a lot of gems. So I might watch it again just to catch her, you know, her little sayings or whatever. Um, But, you know, I get her not going wanting to go to Earth. Earth is ghetto.
It is very ghetto.